Hi. In a previous video, I've spoken about how a name is not just something that is given to us, it's not just a title, but it is a future continuous tense. It is a means, the meaning of the name that we have been given is a means by which we find a direction in which to walk our path of life. Hidden inside the several meanings of the name is a tool, is a clue to what might continue to inspire us, because somebody was inspired by the name and added as that name as the title to us. Similarly, the titles we hold. In this video, I'm going to speak about how the titles themselves, if it is not seen in perspective for what it is, can be the limit in itself. What I mean by that is, when you don't see a title or a name as an opportunity, but as something that has been given to you, as something that you've earned, then that can become the boundary, that can become like a pedestal on which you stand, and you can keep standing on that pedestal. It's a bit like a different kind of a cage. Now this cage, you stand, you step onto it by yourself, and you continue to be there thinking that this is something that is given to you, and it's not. When it's not seen as an opportunity, it becomes a limitation. You stop seeing others' points of view. You kind of get blindsided, which is kind of similar to being in a cell where you can only see to the extent that you can see, nothing beyond that. It's a bit like being a frog in the well. So when you take the title or a role, is the name of a role, say a designation, as though it is something that is given to you and not as an opportunity from and by which to move forward, to approach life from, it becomes an impediment. And the best way I call this as an uncrusting process. What I mean by that is, say an omelette or even a cake. When you're baking it, after a certain point, the surface of it gets a little crusted. Yeah. If you notice a loaf of bread, the surface of it gets a little crusted. It gets brown, right? And the soft part of it is inside. So I call it the uncrusting process. The moment you begin to think that you have now reached somewhere, okay, and you have been given something, and that your title becomes your as though it's an entitlement, that's your right. That's what I call as the pie crusting. There's a different meaning for how it is used, but the word pie crusting. But what I mean by here is, the bread or the cake has crusted on the top. It's like the omelette, If it crusts on the top, you cannot quite make it soft if you're making an omelette. Yeah. So what you need to do is, you need to break the crust. And when you break the crust, the soft portion keeps getting more formed. Otherwise, it gets hardened outside, and inside it may not be really cooked enough. And then you're thinking, my cake is done. And that's when you become limited. You cannot quite grow and become who you can become. So I invite you to look into your life and look at all the different titles that you have, the different names that you have, and notice where you may have begun to think that you are now, you've reached a pedestal. Where you may have pedestal'd yourself, like you have put yourself on an elevated position because of the name that you've been given, or because of the title that you've been given, or because of the designation that you have. And that may be a reason for you, that may be in some ways stopping who you can become, as though that title itself is a chain that you need to continue being there, and hence you're not able to receive from others, nor are able to freely give, and hence, and how would you know that is a difficulty or a lack of joy? There is no ability to move freely. Like, you need to be somebody. There are certain ways I need to behave. Otherwise, I will be seen. Otherwise, I'll be seen differently. So these are the signs that says you've gotten pedestal. Your cake has gotten crusted on top. Yeah. Another sign would be your ability to be amongst the common people. If you're not able to be amongst the common people, that means you have in some way pedestal yourself. You put yourself in an elevated position, and that place is now your impediment to your growth and overall sense of well-being. So what you need to do is identify where you have pedestal yourself, and then consciously step down from it. The name remains, the role remains, the designation remains, but you are no longer crusted by it. That is not your boundary. That is only the beginning of something else. So the moment you recognize where you have gotten pedestal by your title, let the title be where it is. You take an out-of-the-box look of it. You step out of it, at least in your mind, in your physical sensation. Step out of that pedestal and then look at that title as though you're looking at an object, like you're looking at a ball or you're looking at a chair. And then look at it from all sides and see how others may perceive it. Look at how you are perceiving it yourself. See what the role itself means. Yeah, what the title itself means, what that word itself means. And then once you sort of identify what are all the different facets, like it's a ball of crystal or something. You look at it from different facets and begin to see what is that it's actually representing. And then it's like, you try on a robe. Like you've always had a dress, yeah? And you go to a shop and you want to try out something new. You try out a dress, right? Now this is something, this role or title or designation may have always been there with you. But now, try on this as though you're trying out a new dress. Yeah? Now, having seen this role from different perspectives, try on the same role, yeah, as though you're wearing it you're having this role for the first time, and then see how it feels. If you're still feeling not uncomfortable, if you're still feeling a little crusted, you still don't see something new, try that on, place that role in front of you for a little for a perspective again, and then retrospect, and again try it on. It's like, you're sipping a cup of coffee. Yeah, you try on that role a little bit, see how that feels now. Does anything look different? Is anything new about it? And then with this new perspective, try it on for, live life for a little while, maybe a day or two, and then again try it on a run. Look at that role again. So what you're likely to do is you're likely to uncrust any limitation, any pedestaling that has happened. And once that happens, the flow with which you are able to think and be and feel and do things, how you're able to interact with people, how you're able to interact with the role itself, and what becomes possible from the role itself is most likely to be very exponentially, radically different from anything you have done before. And that's where a new horizon opens. So I invite you to try this on. It's a very mind refreshing, horizon expanding, life enhancing, value adding. There's a lot of it to it. So do try this on for size. You might just be surprised on who you turn out to be and what becomes possible because of who you are with what you have. Do leave your comments below. I would like to hear from you. And if you like the video and the content of it, I invite you to click on the subscribe button, and we can begin a conversation, or we can continue it, or we can look at what other perspectives there may be that would enhance our quality and experience of living, and maybe just have the same life that we have, be radically, extraordinarily ordinary, but no more the same thing. You might be just surprised. The richness in the cup of life that you already have. Maybe it just requires a slight change in perspective. So, happy discoveries.